The kind of stardom and popularity that the best NBA players enjoy inevitably stirs hatred among their peers, casual observers, and passionate fans. So let's take a look at some of the most hated ballers currently playing in the league. After the Cleveland Cavaliers waived shooting guard J.R. Smith in July 2019, an article on Cleveland.com described his time with the organization as complicated. That word perfectly describes his roller coaster career. In 2009, he spent 24 days behind bars after he pleaded guilty to reckless driving regarding an incident that killed his best friend. In addition to his off-the-court distractions, he held out for a better contract after the Cavs won the 2016 NBA Finals. And those who watched the 2018 Finals won't soon forget his mental mistake in the closing seconds of Game 1 that cost Cleveland a chance to open the series with a win.
You get the feeling J.R. Smith thought they had the lead. He didn't know the score.
I think exactly. That's a bad mistake by J.R. Smith.
For the most part, Cleveland fans care little about Smith violating the league's drug policy while with the New York Knicks, or even the blunders committed with the Cavs. They instead choose to focus on shirtless JR, celebrating a championship down the streets of downtown Cleveland on a hot July day. And they also happily recall the many beyond-the-arc shots he buried while playing alongside LeBron James during the Kings' second stint with the club. Thus, it's fair to say that Smith's standing within the NBA community is complex. A funny thing happened after Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo traded punches during an October 2018 game between Paul's Rockets and Rondo's Lakers. Multiple players around the NBA defended Rondo while having some choice words for Paul. After Rondo called Paul a horrible teammate, Ryan Hollins referred to Rondo as one of his favorite teammates ever while also saying Paul, quote, has some growing to do. Glenn Davis, who played with both players, added that he also viewed Paul as a, quote, horrible teammate. Furthermore, in October 2017, Austin Rivers told Sports Illustrated that the dynamic between Paul and Blake Griffin was weird when the two played together with the Los Angeles Clippers. And Paul's suspect reputation doesn't end there. For example, we may never know the full story about the friction between Paul and James Harden during the 2019 NBA playoffs. After the Golden State Warriors bounced the Houston Rockets from the postseason, Houston orchestrated a trade that included shipping Paul to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Russell Westbrook. The main reason that Paul remained on the OKC roster through Labor Day was that no other team wanted to accept his massive contract. It probably remains a safe bet Paul won't retire a member of the Thunder when all is said and done. Point guard Lonzo Ball has always been destined to be among the most hated players in the NBA, even before the Los Angeles Lakers drafted him in 2017. Channing Frye, for one, touched upon this subject in May of that same year, explaining that LeVar Ball, Lonzo's outspoken and eccentric father, made it, quote, disgustingly easy to hate on the young guard. Frye was right. LeVar's public persona, his numerous over-the-top interviews that have been spoofed on Saturday Night Live, and the Big Baller brand have all turned Lonzo into a villain despite anything he has or hasn't done on the court.
I told you it would happen. The Lakers are the best team ever. Never lost.
They're not the best team ever. They're only 5-7.
One of the least surprising developments of the 2019 offseason was the Lakers jettisoning Ball in a trade package that delivered Anthony Davis to Los Angeles. Ball responded to that transaction by releasing a rap track in which he claimed that his former employer will regret the decision to move him to the New Orleans Pelicans. Even though LeVar behaved himself after LeBron James signed with the Lakers in the summer of 2018, the three-time NBA champion probably isn't sad he no longer has to worry about the big baller circus. Lonzo must now shade his haters where it matters most, on the court. Draymond Green is the type of competitor a fan loves to hate while also wishing that Green played for his team, particularly during the playoffs. The trouble with Green when he's on your side is that his antics tend to get himself in trouble. For example, during the 2016 NBA Finals, his distinct kicking motions and shots toward a particularly sensitive area of his opponent got him suspended for Game 5 when his Golden State Warriors had a 3-1 series lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Warriors then legendarily fell to the Cavs after losing 3 straight. Green antagonizing foes with physical play down low and trash talk is one thing. Daring Kevin Durant to leave the Warriors in free agency, which he reportedly did in November 2018, is quite another. It turns out Green was wrong in claiming that the Warriors didn't need Durant to win a third consecutive title, as they fell to the Toronto Raptors in the 2019 Finals. Durant, meanwhile, took Green's advice and left the West Coast for the Big Apple and the Brooklyn Nets. So in the near future, Green and Durant will be facing off as members of opposing teams. Depending on their moods, that could be a lot of fun for fans both casual and passionate.
I'm not about to go to Kevin Durant and say, hey, Kevin, can I get my fiance pregnant?
One might guess that a player who averages a triple-double like it's nothing would be universally respected and admired. Russell Westbrook has tested that theory, and the results might not be in his favor. Fans and TV analysts have accused the one-time NBA MVP of padding his stats and stealing rebounds from teammates during games, and the fact that Westbrook once offered a not-safe-for-work response to such individuals probably didn't help his likability in the eyes of his critics. He also didn't help his case by being an offensive liability in the postseason. When the Oklahoma City Thunder ended an era by trading Westbrook to the Houston Rockets in 2019, that may have ultimately sealed his reputation. If Westbrook can somehow become an ideal teammate and sidekick alongside James Harden, he could evolve into the league's best Robin to Harden's Batman. But if he's more concerned with his numbers than winning while wearing a Rockets jersey, then those who already dislike him may find additional reasons to further vilify him. There's only one basketball for Westbrook and Harden to share, after all, and Harden's frustrations are bound to grow while watching Westbrook drop bricks on a cold January night. Any chance Carmelo Anthony had to silence those who are convinced he's a me-first player vanished after 10 games with the Houston Rockets. Ahead of the 2018-19 season, some viewed Anthony as a potential Sixth Man of the Year candidate. They also saw an offensive weapon who could help propel James Harden and the rest of the team past the Golden State Warriors on their way to a championship. But after only 10 games, the Rockets banished Anthony from the roster before trading him to the Chicago Bulls, who waived him as quickly as possible. As of 2019, Anthony's career points total is in the top 25 all time. So how is it possible that he went nearly an entire year without an NBA home, even though he's shown he can still contribute to a playoff team? Not a single franchise in need of a scorer made him a legitimate offer after the Bulls let him enter free agency in February 2019, and he went through the whole summer without receiving a contract. His chances for extending his career and enjoying a one-season retirement tour aren't looking so good right now. Years after he's played his last NBA game, Kyrie Irving may live to regret some of the professional decisions from early in his career. He should have been one of the most popular athletes to ever play for a Cleveland sports franchise, but instead he ditched LeBron James and the Cavaliers ahead of the 2017-18 season so that he could be the main star for the Boston Celtics. That experiment went so poorly that both Irving and the Celtics had zero desire to continue their relationship after 2 seasons. Irving marches to the beat of his own drum. He's a one-time champion who converted one of the most clutch three-pointers ever buried during Game 7 of a championship series. He's also made it abundantly clear that he's going to play where he wants to play, when he wants to play, and with the teammates he wants to play with. It's not a question of if he will become a villain among those who root for the Brooklyn Nets. That day will come. Brooklyn fans just hope it arrives after Irving guides the team to a title. Supporters of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Milwaukee Bucks may fail to understand why Matthew Dellavedova is on this list. The guard became a beloved member of the Cavs roster in 2013, and he was on the team when they defeated the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals. He then enjoyed a brief stay with the Bucks before returning to Northeast Ohio in 2018. But throughout his tenure in the NBA, he's earned a reputation as one of the league's most unsportsmanlike characters. In 2016, fellow players and coaches voted Dellavedova the league's dirtiest player in a Los Angeles Times poll. They tend to point to incidents like when he was ejected for a hard foul committed against the Washington Wizards' Bradley Beal during a January 2018 game. Dellavedova defenders may retort that he's just scrappy or a throwback to an earlier era typified by the Detroit Pistons' bad boys teams of the 1980s. But those who oppose him on the court don't share such opinions, in part because they likely don't want to be on the wrong end of one of his hard fouls. There was once a time when Kevin Durant was the ideal answer for LeBron James. Unlike the NBA's reigning king, Durant never took his talents to South Beach to form a super team with the Miami Heat. KD was his own man in 2014, an MVP who had never had to make an emotional return to his hometown to repair his reputation and chase a ring. He was well on his way to establishing himself as the greatest Oklahoma City Thunder player ever, and it's possible he'd still be with that franchise if OKC didn't blow a 3-1 lead to the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 Western Conference Finals. But Durant's legacy forever changed when he signed with the Warriors after Golden State failed to defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2016 Finals. Fans viewed Durant as somebody who took the easy way out and joined an already existing dynasty, and his subsequent pair of NBA Finals MVP awards didn't alter such perceptions. After he suffered an Achilles tendon injury that will likely cost him the entire 2019-20 season, he followed Kyrie Irving to the Brooklyn Nets. Once again, Durant is a hired gun rather than somebody who built a championship roster. You probably can't find a die-hard basketball fan who has a neutral opinion of LeBron James. You either think he's the GOAT or you laugh that his teams lost in 6 of his first 9 NBA Finals appearances. Truth be told, though, the worst thing about him is that he's trying to trademark Taco Tuesday. You may be the greatest basketball player in history, Mr. James, but you can't just own Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday belongs to the public masses who want an excuse to enjoy a fun meal during otherwise boring work weeks. James is his own brand, which may be the most annoying thing an athlete or any public person can become. He probably won't ever match Michael Jordan in rings, but he's well on his way to becoming a billionaire. Whether or not they want to admit it, most normal people begrudge those who accumulate such wealth and power. Even worse, James has twice left his hometown team, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
The second time he left came after he pledged to fans that he was staying put once he re-signed with the Cavs in 2014. Loyalty is a rare quality in the NBA these days. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite sports stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.